Okay, today on the bench we have in the United States this could be considered an extremely rare radio, and even overseas you really don't see many of these, at least online. I mean, there may be a lot of people that have them, but they don't post a lot of stuff online that they do. So what this is a Lafayette model 2400 FM. So yes, this is the Lafayette of old. Get the cover slid back on there. But this is an export radio. Yes, a lot of people don't even realize Lafayette did make export radios. They did make some because they sold all over the world, or at least in several other countries other than the United States. This is a Cybernet chassis radio. I've got the covers off. I'll show you the inside in a minute here. Just go over the controls on the outside. For starters, I really like the display. It's red. Everybody had red back in the day, and even today, everybody has red. I don't like blue. Blue is a horrible color.
Yeah, right after that restaurant. I think it's called Dave and Jane's or Jane and Dave. I couldn't remember.
Dave and Jane's Crab House. Got me thinking about crabs now. Anyhow, I can't stand blue displays and a lot of these other obnoxiously bright displays they have nowadays. I'm trying to think how to describe it. They have a bloom or a halo around them. They're not clear displays to look at. Green and red are very easy on the eyes. That's why test equipment, when you see multimeters and stuff like that have LED displays or even vacuum fluorescence, there'll be an orange, green, or red, something that doesn't have that halo effect. This has green. I really like green displays. They're very easy on the eyes. This has some kind of unique controls on it. We'll go over the rotary controls first. It has normal volume. This is a 5-band radio, so it has A, B, C, or actually 6-band, not 5-band, 6-band. Let me try that again. A, B, C, D, E, and F. Normal squelch control, your mode switch. Now, like I say, this is an export, so it's in addition to having AM and sideband, it also has a CW and FM positions. The FM's kind of given away in the model number. And it does have a fine and coarse control. From the factory, the coarse control is unlocked, so it will adjust your receive and transmit frequency. Has about 5.5 to 6 kilohertz slide in either direction, and then the fine control is for receive tuning only. The power switch. Now this is a single final radio. It's just a 2SC 1969 Cybernet chassis, but it does have a power. But you have to remember, this also has a CW position. So if you wanted to do some fairly low power CW transmissions, it does have it's not variable with a rotary control, but it does have a 3-position power switch. So in high, that's your normal. Mid is about half power, and low is like around the half watt. It's a really low level. The tone control is something I wish more radios had. Actually, if we just turn the squelch off, and you can hear that, and we'll turn off and then you can hear when I switch the tone control on, it gets rid of a lot of that high frequency hiss. So it's almost like having an extra automatic noise limiter circuit, and it's a very simple. A lot of radios, that's something a lot of radios do have. Some of them even had variable tone controls. Think of a Cobra 2000 GTL, but the tone control is really nice because, like I say, it allows you to filter out that really high pitched staticky noise, which is always present. And it can make the difference between being able to receive a distant station, or where it's an uncopyable transmission, or you flip the low filter on, and it's a copyable transmission because it's knocked out enough of the staticky noise that you can then copy the person you're trying to listen to. The CBPA, so it does have a PA position, normal noise blanker, A and L switches, and then another nice thing, they kind of didn't have real estate down here for an RF gain control. So it has a 3-position gain control, has a DX, and I hate the radios that have the 2-position one, where it's DX and local. Yeah, DX is just normal, basically unattenuated. The local adds so much attenuation It is just what it says, local. You know, if the guy's behind, you're in a mobile and they're behind you or in front of you, or they're within maybe a quarter to a half mile, yeah, the local position is just fine. But yeah, anything outside of that, it's going to be the signal. There's just so much attenuation in the local, it's as to almost be useless. This is nice. It has a mid position, and that's actually what I have it in right now. Fairly noisy day today, so I put it in the mid position. It's enough to knock out some of the background, lower the noise floor on the radio, but it still has the gain turned up high enough to where I can receive, because you heard people on the radio. So there's the outside. Let me just turn it off here. So like I say, this is a Cybernet radio. Everything unhooked. So this has a PCMA 001S chassis, so not much to see on the bottom side. And I will, hopefully before the day I die, will have time to restore this. Not that it really needs any cosmetic work, but it should have the electrolytic capacitors replaced and a transceiver alignment done to it. But the first giveaway on anything from Cybernet, if you ever look in a radio and you see a little green or an orange or a metal box like that with a little square hole, where actually it can be the screwdriver slot, depends on which one you have. But a big, basically what looks like it could be a crystal filter, but it's got a tunable ferrite core in it. It's a Cybernet. That's the VCO block. Now, if you watched a video I did not too awfully long ago, it'd be several months, but it's not like it's been a year. I did a video on some Midland 7001 radios. This is basically the same as that. If you look at it, you can see the crystals over here, just the layout of the radio, the PLL02A IC, so your PLL chip's right down there with the VCO block here. The layout's pretty much the same. The big difference with that, and that's the export. That, again, Midland was another company that had FCC, had radios with FCC IDs for use in this country, and then they had radios for export. The Midland 7001 was one of them. They had a US version, and they had an export version. The export version was like this one. The big difference with their export version was it also had, now it wasn't a frequency counter, because it's not actually a counter module in there. It's just a frequency display. It's actually driven off of the channel selector switch. But it had the frequency display, and then it has a +5 and a -5K switch on it. And if you watch that video, you'll see there's another little circuit board that sits over here that has a bunch of trimmer resistors on it. And I covered in that video what that board does. That's actually for when you're doing the alignment for adjusting that positive and -5K. But, yep, so, fairly standard Cybernet chassis. This one looks to be 100% unmodified. So there's our 2SC2166 driver and 2SC1969 final. These have surprisingly good sideband reception, considering they have, in my opinion, a microscopic crystal filter. Yes, it's a teeny tiny little guy. It must be 3. I mean, I can't see more than having 3 crystals inside of that can. And there always has to be, it's tall enough. There could be a couple, I guess, caps on internally on the bottom side for coupling and tuning. But it's just so small. I mean, let me just turn around here and grab a few. Let's see, crystal filters. Okay. Most people are familiar with modern radios today have this style in there, okay? And you can see a modern radio crystal filter is even larger than the one that's in here. And especially if you compare it to other filters, what I would consider really good crystal filters, radios that had this style filter in it. Yeah, this thing just dwarfs that one. But like I say, surprisingly, that one's actually pretty good. Now, of course, there's more to just the filter to make a good receiver than the filter alone. And that's, I think, one of the things. It may not be a huge filter, but the supporting circuitry around it also helps a lot. But so So, yep, there you go. Like I say, hopefully before the day I die, I'll get this thing recapped. Really doesn't need any work from the looks of it. Other than that, I don't see any modifications that have ever been done to it. The few wires that are on the bottom and the bodge parts on here, they're all from the factory, which is common practice in CB radio manufacturing. Honestly, it's very rare to not see parts bodged on the bottom of the board. A lot of times, parts like that will be, they designed a radio, realized they had a problem, and that was a fix. Was, let's say, installing maybe that ceramic cap or that resistor right there. It fixed a problem in the radio. But so, like I said, I just wanted to do a really quick show and tell of this. Like I say, you really don't see a lot of these nice little radios. It's really nice that I got this one with all the original accessories and the original tire microphone. So let me get this thing put back together, slide it in the box. Hopefully it'll see the light of day within the next few years. I'll get it restored, and then I can actually add it up on the shelf. Get it hooked up to one of my antenna switches and put it in rotation where it might actually get used once or twice a year. Haha. So I hope you enjoyed.